The following program is intended for mature audiences.
PBS, America's #1 independent television network, presents the following sports exclusive.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And check out every episode of the show at basicallysports.tumblr.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg, Mike.
And you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
The absolute worst!
I am not confident at all. Game 5 was brutal. Oh, Jesus. Just brutal.
Yeah, welcome to the later rounds of the Stanley Cup Playoffs, Greg.
Yeah, I know.
All the feeling does not get any better the further you go on.
No, it really doesn't. You just get more stressed out, basically. And
yeah.
I mean, you've won the cup, so does it at the end do you go, or is it like, thank God that's over?
A little
of both.
When we won the cup, it went a little more like the first one, yeah. Because when the Ducks got to the Cup final, and really that whole year they didn't. The only series that they faced any true adversity in was the conference final against Detroit. And once they they beat Detroit in overtime in Game 5 in Detroit. And after that point, it was like, oh, okay, we're gonna win the whole damn thing. This is ours. And they destroyed Ottawa, so it wasn't the same where like we were grinding out these series and oh my God, we're at the edge of our seat. They were just such a damn good team that there's the tension of a cup playoff, but and the thing with the cup winning game too, the Ducks won that one like 6-2. So any tension was taken out of the game very early, and it was just like, this is our victory lap. Let's just enjoy the hell out of the rest of this. So
yeah, that would be nice. Well, see, I really believe if the Jackets can somehow force a Game 7 and win this series, I maybe I'm crazy, but I like their chances of taking the whole thing. I really do, because I think they can beat Carolina. Although Carolina, Jesus, where did they come from? Sweeping the Islanders and just, did anybody in the entire world have the Carolina Hurricanes playing for the conference championship? I can't imagine. Right?
No, but as some people have pointed out, it's one of those things like the Hurricanes don't make it's almost like the most interesting man in the world sort of idea. The Carolina Hurricanes don't make the playoffs, but when they do, they go deep.
Yeah, well,
they I think somebody said that since '99 was it, or 2002?
They have as many postseason wins as the Red Wings.
They have as many Final Fours as the Red Wings.
Yeah,
but they also have the same amount of playoff appearances as the Oilers and Coyotes. So it's one of those things, again, where
they make their one every decade shot matter.
Yeah, they make it count. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, take advantage of your opportunities, I suppose. Well, I've said it before. It's anybody that's listened to the show has heard me say it a million times that playoff hockey is the best thing in the world as long as your team's not involved in it. And if your team is involved in it, especially in a tight series like this, it's a slow motion panic attack for 2.5 hours. That's what it is. But I'd rather be here than not, though. I will say that. But this is crazy. I don't know what to think. I just, Game 5 was crucial. And, losing 4-1 in Game 4 wasn't great either. But it just, they had it they were kind of barely in control of the series, and they let it get away from them is the way I see it. And Boston, they're good. The Bruins are a good team, I guess. They sure look good. And it seems to me like there are 8 guys on the ice at all times for Boston. They're just... My girlfriend goes, what kind of hockey do the Bruins play? I said, the best way I can describe it is they play in-your-way hockey. She goes, what do you mean? It's like, I said, it seems like they're always in your way. No matter where you are on the ice, there's 2 of them there that you got to try to get around. So
that's about right.
Yeah, and it works. And Raska's played really well in this series. So, you got to give credit where it's due.
It's one of those things where, we talked about it when we did our previews. I can't tell you exactly why the Bruins are good. They should be on the decline. Their better players are older. Yeah, they have some youth, but Bergeron and Rask and Chara have all been around for quite some time.
Oh, Chara's been around for about 50 years now?
Yeah. I mean, their best skill player, Pasternak, is like, yeah, he's good, but he's not like he's not on that upper tier as the McDavids, the Crosbys, any guys like that. He's a good player, and they're Torrey Krug and Charlie McAvoy and all these young guys. It's like, yeah, they're fine players, but as a group, they just play in such a way that, like you said, they're in your way. Yeah. They play how they need to play to win, and they do it to great results.
Yep. Even
if they have, the most annoying hockey player on the planet in
Marchand.
Brad Marchand, yeah. Like, for all the people that hated Corey Perry at the height of his career, I now understand.
Yeah.
Watching Brad Marchand is like,
welcome to being a fucking Leafs fan, Zach.
Corey Perry was a jerk all the time, but I don't remember him punching dudes in the back of the head
having to put up with this asshole every single goddamn year.
Yeah, that's probably not too fun.
No, it's not.
But yeah, it's stressful and all that. And you guys have I'm not telling you guys anything you don't already know, but it's still fun. You just want it to be easier. Like, God, that Tampa Bay series seems so easy now by comparison. Like every goal.
Funny you bring that up. It's funny you bring that up.
Okay.
Because it came out that for the last 2 weeks of the Tampa Bay Lightning didn't practice for the final 2 weeks of the regular season, and then went on a golf trip between the end of the regular season and the playoffs.
Oops.
Yeah, I think it was 2 weeks before the end of the season. They the owner chartered a private jet for anybody that wanted to use it, and they went over some of the top players went over to Miami to go play some golf.
Wow.
Yeah, they didn't practice.
Well, it showed, because that team did not at any point look like a record-setting team in that series ever.
Well, they were trying to rest up and be fresh.
Yeah, I don't. There's always so many schools of thought on that, but
hockey is one of those games where you gotta stay sharp and you gotta stay on it. Like, I don't care if you win 62 bloody games. Like, you can't just go 2 weeks without practice and then expect to play playoff caliber hockey and win. Like, that's not going to happen.
Nope.
Another great John Cooper move. Definite Coach of the Year finalist material. So
you're a creature of habit in sports, and to completely throw off the whole routine heading into the playoffs like that, I think is just about as dumb a thing as you can do. I don't care record-setting season or not. I don't care how tired out they are or whatever. You can rest up and not blow your whole routine. And maybe that's why the Columbus Blue Jackets just made a mockery of the Lightning in that first round. And, maybe they shouldn't have. But in this series, it seems like every goal has just been a massive struggle to score. Whereas, against the Lightning, it was just like, well, we need a goal. Let's go get one. But, it's been an interesting playoffs. I mean, there's just a lot of things that, there's really, let's be honest, there aren't really any marquee teams left except the Bruins. And I don't know that I'd even they're a marquee team. They're an original six team and all that. But are they up there at the same level with like the Blackhawks and the Rangers? Maybe
they don't draw Sabres numbers in the ratings. That's
nobody does. Come on now. Can you imagine, though, if that team ever goes on a playoff run, what it's going to be like? I'd love to go to a game there just to see that in Buffalo. That'd be wild.
But yeah, I think you're right on it, Greg. Where they are an original six team. Their team NBC would prefer to have.
Sure.
In the mix over some others, but they don't have the same national draw that the Blackhawks do, or even any of the other Boston teams do.
It's really weird. The Bruins have more recent success than the New York Rangers, and it seems like the Rangers get more love nationally.
Sure.
There is not a single franchise in sports that has ridden one championship as much as the New York Rangers have that 94 Cup.
I think Admiral said it best. The 1994 Stanley Cup, which is the only Stanley Cup Finals that has ever happened.
Whatever mattered.
Right?
No, truly. Like, think of any baseball team that has won one championship, 30 years ago, or I guess 25 years ago, that has the same amount of play as the Rangers Cup does.
Well, not only that, but the Rangers, what was it, 40 years before that, their cup prior to that. So
right.
This isn't. I'll use a team like the Sharks. This isn't a team that had like sustained success for a long time and just couldn't seem to punch that ticket. There were a lot of lean years with those Rangers teams over the years. This isn't. But yeah, they've gotten a lot of. I mean, you're probably right. More goodwill out of one cup win than any championship team I've ever seen. Period. Any sport. It's just amazing. But they're the New York Rangers.
If you took Cam Ward and turned him into an entire team, he's the New York Rangers.
Well, isn't it funny that the Carolina Hurricanes finally make the playoffs when Cam Ward leaves?
Yeah. Look at that. It's almost like maybe continually going with him with goal, in goal after his Best Buy date was not the best idea.
Who's their goalie now?
Oh my God, Greg! It's
kind of disgusting.
It really is. It's gross. Like their starter for most of the year was Peter Mrazek, and he was the starter for most of the playoffs. Then he got injured, and Mike will attest. And he was a Columbus Blue Jacket, but during the lean years, so I don't know if you remember his name. Curtis McElhinney.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that
that's right.
I saw him single-handedly tank an Anaheim Ducks season one year where they had to pull Dan Ellis and Ray Emery out of the embers from wherever the hell they were.
Ray Emery, wow. That's going back.
To make this incredible surge to make the playoffs. And he was garbage in Calgary. He was garbage in Anaheim. He was pretty bad in Toronto.
Yeah.
Really bad in Columbus.
Yeah.
I don't know how he's made an 11-year career, but here he is, and he has 2 playoff wins this season.
I don't understand it. It's not fucking fair, man. All right? Because
it's not. What the hell is Curtis McElhinney doing?
Has he been their starting goalie for the entire playoffs?
No, he's been the starter for the last 2 games.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But I would have thought that
that's half of the Islanders series.
I know.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. He's like,
wow.
Curtis McElhinney of all people is the safety valve for the Hurricanes, and they somehow were still winning.
Man, oh man, now this becomes even more important for the Jackets to win this series because maybe you get lucky, you get the Canes with Curtis McElhinney as goalie. Come on. I
mean, I would assume by the time the Hurricanes go into whatever the next series is, because the thing that's, I mean, we've seen it, we saw it go both ways in that series, rest versus rust, right?
Yeah.
Where the Hurricanes now have a sweep, and now they're the ones that are sitting around as every other series goes 7 games. But by the time they play again, I would assume Mrazek would be back in net, but who knows? And even still, the fact that Peter Mrazek was their starting goalie and doing as well as he has been is incredible. So I don't know. I like the Hurricanes are a Vegas Golden Knights level without the same amount of talent sort of thing where it's like they bound it together. Yeah, they're playing good hockey. Like there's no way around that. They're playing good hockey, but they're greater than the sum of their parts right now, which it is incredible.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think anyone had the Canes making it this far in the playoffs. Anyone?
No, certainly Don Cherry didn't.
Oh yeah, Don Cherry's got a real problem with these guys.
Well,
I was watching some of the videos.
They're a bunch of jerks.
Right,
a bunch of jerks, and their fans are front runners.
Right. So the Hurricanes, they started selling bunch of jerks T-shirts after Don Cherry called them that before. They're now selling new T-shirts that have been amended slightly that say a bunch of front-running jerks. Yeah. So if you want to update your Carolina Hurricanes T-shirt collection, hit the internet.
Brought to you by the same guy who killed the AAF.
Yeah. What sort of monkey's paw's wish is this? Huh?
Did he sacrifice the AAF to
Probably.
It's some
the
voodoo
AAF.
wish?
The Hurricanes may live.
Mike, we lost our Orlando Apollo so that the Hurricanes might make this playoff run.
Yeah, no. We lost the Orlando Apollos, so the Hurricanes could probably lose at the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
For an Avengers reference, Tom Dundon is Thanos, the AAF is Gamora, and the Carolina Hurricanes are his Soul Stone.
The Carolina Hurricanes. The Carolina Hurricanes win the Stanley Cup, and suddenly Tom Dundon finds himself in the void of Steve Spurrier.
Well, just think about this, too, for a
What
second.
did it cost? Everything.
Everything.
Think about this for a second, too, though. If by some – well, it's not even going to be that much of a miracle at this point because it's the way things have played out. But if the Canes win this, that would be their second cup in, 13 years?
They won it in 06, yeah.
And
again, they hadn't made the playoffs for 10 years. And when they won the cup, they missed the playoffs the next season. Since they've come over to Raleigh from Hartford, really they haven't been that different from the Whalers, generally speaking, in terms of year-to-year success.
A few good years sprinkled in some really bad ones.
Right. Mostly bad ones with, half-empty buildings. But they went to the Cup final in 2002, where they got swept by the Wings. Then they won the Cup in 2006. They've been to the Eastern Conference final. I think this is their third trip since 2006.
Mm-hmm.
It's a strange thing. It's I guess another team to compare them to, although it's not the same thing because you don't have the fire sale put in there, but they're the Florida Marlins.
kind of, yeah.
Where they win and then they go away, and then they win and then they go away. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense from a grander franchise perspective, but here they are, and they're filling the building, and people are getting excited about Hurricanes hockey. But based on the history of the Carolina Hurricanes, I don't know if it's sustainable.
Well, I'm just saying that if you look at any 13-year stretch, you would not pick and you say, okay, there's going to be a team that's going to win 2 cups in this stretch. I don't know that anybody would put their money on the Hurricanes to be the one to do it.
No.
Not, you know what I mean? And not that winning 2 cups in a 13-year stretch is a monumental achievement, but the point being that you would say, okay, like those Ducks teams over the years, you think, okay, they would have been the ones that would have put another cup or 2 in their pocket in that same stretch. Or, the Blackhawks did, or say like the Bruins or someone along those lines. The Carolina Hurricanes would never enter that conversation.
Yeah, think about it. The Carolina Hurricanes, this is all if they get through.
Right.
They would have 2 Stanley Cups, where the Vancouver Canucks have 0.
Yeah.
The St. Louis Blues have 0. The LA Kings, who came in the same year as those teams, they got 2 recently. Again, Mike, your Toronto Maple Leafs.
Mm-hmm.
None in 50 plus years. So
Canadiens haven't won since 93?
93?
Yeah. I mean,
they would have won twice before the Montreal Canadiens won again.
That's what I'm going to say, is that no one in their right mind would say that the Carolina Hurricanes will win 2 cups before the Canadiens win another one. That's just no way anyone's thinking that. Here's a long way to go yet, but still. Since the Hurricanes have moved to Carolina from Hartford,
they made the playoffs in their second season, went out in the first round. Made the playoffs in their 4th season, went out in the first round. But then in 2002, their 5th season in Carolina, they went to the Stanley Cup final. Then they didn't qualify for the next 2 years. Then there was a lockout. Then they won the cup. Then they didn't make it for the next 2 years. Then they went to the conference final. Then they didn't make it for another 9-10 years. And now they're going back to the conference final.
Well, it's like I said, they make the most of their opportunities, and I guess there's something to be said for that.
Right. Since the lockout, cup, no playoff. Conference final, no playoff. Conference final. It's a stupid team to be a fan of. It really is.
Well,
again, if you're a Hurricanes fan, God bless you for sticking around through all this garbage. Especially when the team, they either make the playoffs in winning 2 rounds, or they don't make it at all.
Well,
so.
and Don Cherry taking a shot at their fans. I mean, come on, that's hardly unusual with the Canes fans, Don, for people to show up when the team's winning. That's kind of a given for, I'd say, 80% of the teams in the league. I mean, you're going to have some teams that are going to get crowds no matter what. But
I'll take a shit on the Hurricanes fans. Fuck them. They didn't show up all season. Have you seen their attendance number? Like,
oh yeah.
No, this isn't a case of they had decent attendance and then they had great attendance when they made the playoffs. No, man. Like this team, it was like near bottom or bottom of the league attendance wise. Literally no one was going.
Mm-hmm.
They were bad. This was a bad team attendance-wise.
I'm just saying this is not a new phenomenon, that the Canes aren't the only team that's guilty of this, or Canes fans.
But again, like, to kind of emphasize how crazy this is for the Hurricanes, since the lockout, the year they won the Cup, they won the division, they were second in the conference. Kind of an outlier, really. Because besides that, they've been 11th, 9th, 6th when they went to the conference final, then 11th, 9th, 12th, 13th, 13th, 14th, 10th, 12th, 10th, and then they made it as a 7th place team this season. Again, this isn't like some model franchise.
No.
But they have more playoff success than some of the
that's my point.
The pillar teams of this league.
They're the Florida Marlins.
Strange.
They are the Florida Marlins.
And this is why it drives people like Don Cherry crazy. Because it's not even like – I don't even think it's the fans or the location, although I know that plays a lot into it, especially for somebody like Cherry. But it's the fact that, like, aside from the playoff runs, which are few and far between, they're a garbage team.
Oh yeah, they're
people don't go to the games. They're bad. Their aesthetic kind of sucks.
They're a stuff team. They're a total stuff team.
And even when they were doing well, their star player was the most bland dude in the world in Eric Stahl, and he hasn't even been there for like 3-4 years. So
they're a stuff team. They're a stuff team.
The Hurricanes confound me, and I know that's what people love about them is they make some hockey diehards like us kind of squirm and like really kind of pull our hair out about it, but it really makes no sense. It makes no sense whatsoever.
No.
Especially considering, too, they were one of the poster children over the last few years for the analytics movement, the Corsi and the shot attempts.
Right.
Everybody loved their numbers. Their numbers were so good. They'd be the best team in the league if they could put the puck in the net, but they could never put the puck in the net, or they had terrible goaltending, and now here they are. Like,
the Minnesota Wild problem. We're the greatest team in the league. We just can't outscore anybody.
Yeah,
that's a slight problem. Slight. Yeah. But yeah, it's been a wild. I was looking at the bracket again, and just I don't even know what to make of it. I think that overall, if I had to pick a team right now that's going to win the Cup, I'm going with the San Jose Sharks. I think that's it.
I guess, but they're even having trouble trying to put away this Avalanche team who you would have thought, like, hey, you had a good run there beating the Flames, but you're also a one-line team that should go away, and they're not.
Yeah. I put it this way: if the Bruins, I think the Bruins are the team to beat if they get past the Jackets.
I know, and that kills me.
Yeah.
It really.
I will say this: as idiotic and stupid and dumb as the Hurricanes are, I did thoroughly enjoy laughing at the Islanders, so there's that. I mean, we made it further than Tavares. Yeah, fuck you, you schmucks. Yeah, okay, you got to the second round. Congratulations. You're swept by a team that sucked ass for the last 10 years. Good job.
You got swept by a stuff team.
Got swept by a stuff team.
That's right.
You self-righteous, pompous assholes. Deal with it. Your goalie's going to leave too, so fuck you.
I will say, though, I feel for the Islanders fans.
And you're playing 2 arenas, so fuck off again.
2 arenas. Right. Figure that shit out first.
That is something that I can guarantee you is a very valid complaint for Islanders fans to have.
Yeah.
If they didn't play those games in Brooklyn, I think that series is still going on.
At
but
least.
there's no way to quantify that. You know.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. It's like it's an intangible. Like can anyone say like legitimately, confidently, with sources to back them up, that if this series had been played in Long Island, that it would still be going on?
I mean, I could.
It's the same team.
Look.
It's the same team. It's the same team that played in Long Island in the first round, played the Hurricanes in the second round.
I'm gonna see if I can find it real quick.
Yeah, but don't you think though that as players, the crowd, again, I don't know if they can make a team better or whatever, but there's something to home ice advantage, or it wouldn't matter. No one would care about having it.
No, I mean, no, that's true. I mean, that's true. But does the I guess my point is the difference between Long Island and Brooklyn really a -4 games like swing? Like, is it really the difference between sweeping a team?
Probably not.
Swept?
Probably not. I don't think it helped anything, but no, I don't know that the sole reason they got swept in 4 by the Canes is because they were playing in Brooklyn instead of Long Island. But I think it had an effect. I talked about it at the beginning of the playoffs that I didn't like the idea of having to move from Nassau to Brooklyn right in the middle of everything. Mm-hmm. That was just stupid, if nothing else. But no, I think they just maybe they weren't quite as good as we thought they were, and maybe the Canes were a little bit better than we're giving them credit for. Who knows?
At the end of the day, all right. At the end of the day, we talked about it. A lot of people picked the Islanders to be a basement team this year.
Yeah.
And they obviously shocked a lot of people and proved a lot of people wrong with their strong regular season. They swept the Penguins. Is it entirely possible that all of the experts were more or less right and they went on a Cinderella run and clock just struck midnight after the Penguins series? Is that possible?
Oh, sure. I think absolutely possible. Yeah.
And one more thing. And if you'll both indulge me in this. Islanders, you want to know what would have made the difference in this series? You just needed a first-line center.
Oh. Say like John Tavares, maybe?
Yeah. Hey, man, you can't. Hey, Islanders fans, you throw shit after the first round, and then you go out and have that performance against the goddamn Carolina Hurricanes. No, you deserve to be mocked for that performance. All right, no mercy. I have to deal with the goddamn Bruins beating us again. I'm not showing any team like any mercy this playoffs. Like, I will mock you viciously, especially you Islanders fans. Deal with it.
So I'm trying to cobble together their record here at Nassau, and it's a fine record as far as I can tell. It's not blowing anybody away. So then one more, I guess. Oh, so that's a loss. Okay. So the Islanders' record in the regular season at Nassau was 12 wins, 7 losses, and 2 shootout losses.
Okay.
One of the teams they lost to was Carolina, incidentally enough, in Nassau, with Thomas Greiss in net instead of Robin Lehner. So, I mean, it's hard to say. And none of those are playoff atmospheres.
Right. Like
they were in the first round. I don't know. It is just so, again, we saw the argument of rest versus rust, where the Islanders looked like out of the first round, they looked like they were playing the best hockey, all things considered.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And the Hurricanes had to battle through a 7-game series with Washington. And then they sweep right through the Islanders after the Islanders sat around for a while.
But
what does that mean? I don't know.
Well, did Barry Trotz take them on a golf trip? That's what we need to get to the bottom of.
I'm guessing probably not.
No.
Another thing to think about too, though, and this is another thing that you can't quantify, but you got to wonder if maybe the Islanders got a little overconfident by taking out the Penguins with such ease.
Do you think they looked past the Hurricanes?
Well, I don't think they looked past them necessarily. But then you got the Canes coming in who beat the defending Stanley Cup champions in a tough series. So the Canes are, maybe they're like filled with a little more confidence. All these little things that you can't quantify, but you got to wonder how much of a role they played and everything. And
we see it all the time in the NFL, right? Where a team has a really important game 2 weeks out, right?
Yeah.
And they look past the team they have to play this week.
Yep.
And could it be? I mean, it's hardly possible. We're all guilty of it. Nobody thought the Hurricanes would amount to much. That maybe the Islanders, right? They swept the Penguins, and then they saw that the Hurricanes pulled one out against the Capitals, and the Islanders are thinking like, oh, we dodged a bullet, and we don't have to play the Capitals. We get to play the Hurricanes now. This will be easy, and then we'll go to the Eastern Conference Finals. But
they're making they may have made the same mistake that I'm making right now, which is if we can get past the Bruins. Well, all that's left is the Hurricanes, and that's just like punching your ticket to the final at that point. Same thing the Islanders could have done. So, yeah, there's a million different things, and obviously the most important one is that the Hurricanes played better hockey for 4 games, and they won those 4 games, and that's it. That's what matters. But there's all sorts of little things that go into it, so who knows? Yeah. That's playoff hockey.
It's not like, I guess you could say that maybe the first 2 games were closer. But yeah, it still wasn't even a situation where like the Islanders were a bad bounce away from winning any of these games. The Hurricanes just outplayed them for 4 games. And again, like the Islanders season on the line, game 4, and Carolina destroyed them. Like just not even close. And I'm seeing a lot of Islanders fans trying to take the high road of, oh, well, we didn't even expect to be here, and this still feels great. Like, well, I would say that too in a normal circumstance. Like if you had lost to the Capitals, sure. But the way that the playoffs have played out with, everything being flipped on its head, this was an opportunity for the Islanders to maybe kind of get there ahead of schedule, all things considered. Yeah. And they dropped the ball by losing to this bunch of jerks.
Bunch of front-running jerks. Yeah. Well, we'll see how it plays out. It's been a weird playoff this year, I think.
Yeah.
Very strange.
And it's just so funny to see that one go 4 games while the other 3 series all seem like kind of predestined to go 7. Like, as much as it was like, well, Dallas went into St. Louis in one game 5, and now they can win game 6 at home. I didn't think they were. The St. Louis was going to force game 7, and that'll get played, tomorrow. And yeah, sure, the Sharks are up, but it's also the Sharks, and they're going to Colorado, and I wouldn't be surprised if Colorado wins tonight, forces game 7.
The Sharks just go full. The Sharks haven't gone full Sharks yet, so
they've damn sure tried. I'll give them that.
They tried against Vegas, right? And somehow they prevailed.
They made just a magnificent effort against Vegas in Game 7. It was but just couldn't pull it off. And I didn't even know what you say about that. How do you reconcile that with them going full Sharks and blow? It's like they couldn't even do the Sharks. Like they blew being the Sharks, which I guess is good.
I just laughed at the Golden Knights fans who had to experience like that. It's like, yeah, congratulations, Golden Knights fans. This is the pain of being in the NHL.
Oh, like, that was
you had the most incredible, blessed run in the first year.
Yeah,
you got to have one of the more controversial, gut-wrenching losses in the second year. Just to even things out.
Yeah, no. Now next year you don't make the playoffs and get to see what that feels like.
Here's where they are right now. Okay, they have just stepped into a 15-round boxing match. And they just got nailed with a good punch for the first time. Yeah. You're in the fight now. Now you know what it feels like to get hit. But you got a ways to go, Vegas fans. Yeah. You got a lot more of these coming.
But on the other end of that, I got to say I'm still underwhelmed by the Sharks just overall. Yeah. I would have thought that the way that they won that game 7, should have been sort of a demon shedding moment. And then you kind of roll through the next series. But they haven't. And all props to Colorado, and Philip Grubauer is playing great, and they're getting production out of the Nathan McKinnon line. He looks dangerous every single time he has the puck, but you're still talented at every position. You're deep at every position. so much deeper than what Colorado has to offer. Mm-hmm. So the fact that you're still toying around with them, I don't get it.
Well,
like they should have won. They probably should have won the last game and just ended it in 5 and didn't. And now they're in a spot where, Colorado could.
Well, they play games,
and then who knows what happens.
Game 6 is tonight, right?
Game 6 is tonight in Colorado.
Yep.
And then Game 7 will be back in the tank. And I guess they would be confident after winning that last Game 7, but it's still Game 7. You shouldn't let it come down to that if you can avoid it.
Well, and
we'll see what happens tonight, and people will know by the time they hear this. But even still going forward, like the Sharks should be the favorite in the West. But I don't think there is a favorite besides.
I don't think there's a favorite on the board right now.
I'm not confident picking the Sharks over either the Stars or Blues at this point.
Yeah. No, I mean, really, the only true, what I would call favorite on the entire board right now is probably the Bruins. After that, anything could happen.
It's gonna be,
and none of it would be a surprise. It wouldn't be.
Which is like, again, how many storylines did we all map out for this playoffs at the start of it, and now it's just like devolved into utter and complete chaos.
Yeah.
And who the hell knows what's going to happen? And hopefully Columbus can beat Boston, and we could have like just the ultimate complete coin flip of a Stanley Cup.
I have a question though. I want to throw this by you guys as kind of a larger sense question about the NHL and the Cup final playoffs. When we go back and look at the record books, right, and you'll go through the list of Stanley Cup champions, and we'll look at like the Blackhawks teams of the last decade and say, oh, those were incredible teams and a dynasty, and those Penguins teams were incredible, and as much as I hate the Kings, like those were impressive runs by the Kings each time they went. And then we're going to have whoever the hell wins this.
You're going to get a lot of talk of worst Stanley Cup champion ever.
Yeah.
And I don't know that you could really argue it. I mean, look, I would love to see the Jackets take this thing all the way, but I'm not kidding anybody. I'm not even going to make the argument that they were the best team in the NHL this year, because they're not.
No.
They're not. They're simply not.
Like the way I would explain it, right, is – and it's a bit different because we're only talking about 1 year compared to a full decade. But, like, it might be a version of the NBA's 70s, right, where, like, I describe the 70s as the decade where all of the NBA stuff teams got their titles.
Yeah.
Like the 70s were weird. Like, if the Raptors existed in the 70s, they probably would have won, like, a title somewhere in there. But
they would have been in line to win the 77 title probably.
Yeah, like it's like the Warriors, right? Before the Warriors became the Warriors, had one. The Sonics had one. The Bucks had a few, and it's like,
what
happened?
Here are the teams. I'm going to do this off the top of my head, if I can remember right. The teams that won in the 70s. You had the Knicks. I think they won twice in 70 and 73. I want to say.
Yeah.
The Bucks won in 71. I think the Celtics won a couple in there, maybe 72. I'm not sure. 74, you had the Golden State Warriors. Okay, I think it was 74.
What was that? 70. So
74.
We had Knicks in 70. So
right.
You got that. Bucks in 71.
Right.
The Lakers won in 72.
Or 72 Lakers. That was a 69-13 team. Right.
The Knicks beat the Lakers again in 73.
Right, yeah. I knew the Knicks had two in there. 74
was Boston.
Was it the Warriors or Boston?
Boston was 74.
Beating the Bucks.
Okay, so the Warriors were 75 then?
Yep.
Yes.
76.
The Celtics were 76.
77, I want to say was Portland.
It was Portland.
78, the Bullets.
78.
79, the Supersonics. Yeah, it was like all the stuff teams.
A lot of stuff teams winning it in there, right?
Yeah, considering immediately before that Knicks title, it was Boston, Philadelphia, right. Boston, St. Louis Hawks, Boston.
And then what happened after 79? 80 rolls around. The Lakers won the first.
It's just Lakers.
It's Lakers, Celtics with the Rockets in there a couple times. Yeah. And
Lakers, Celtics, Pistons, Bulls.
Right,
Rockets,
and then it moves into the 90s, and it's all Bulls, and whoever, they could get past the two Rockets titles, and here we are. So really, as much as, the NBA likes to tout how great the playoffs are and all that, we really only honestly ever had one competitive decade, in all of basketball, NBA history that I can remember, one competitive decade, the 70s, where you had the stuff teams just dropping, picking up titles left and right. Baltimore, the Bullets, I think. Were they Washington or Baltimore still?
Washington.
They were Washington at that point?
Yeah.
Great uniforms, great team. Elvin Hayes, Wes Unseld. They were fun. Earl Monroe. Fun team. But, yeah, and then after that, it's been the same as it's been. I mean, we can glorify the 80s or the 90s all we want, but it's all the same. Yeah. Just like it is now.
But I guess you could say that about hockey with the 2000s was kind of a stuff time where, in 99 you have the Stars.
Yeah.
Then Devils win their second cup. Avalanche win their second cup. Red Wings, Devils, Lightning, Hurricanes, Ducks, Red Wings, Penguins. And then we get into the latest. But still, even then, yes, you have your Red Wings. Yes, you have your Hurricanes, your Ducks. But you still get the Red Wings in there. You still get, say what the Avalanche in general are a stuff team probably, but those were teams that were loaded with all-time players.
I would say they are now more a stuff team than they used to be. In the 90s, especially that Detroit rivalry, that was must-see television if you were a sports fan.
Sure.
You had, what was it? You had Peter Forsberg was on that team.
Joe Sakic,
Patrick Waugh. You had
Adam Foote. Ray Bourque came in for the last one.
Did Rob Blake play for the
Rob Blake?
Yeah. So that was a talented group of players. It's not like now where it's, you've got McKinnon and a bunch of guys you've never heard of. So they weren't they were, I don't want to say a marquee team, but they were definitely an upper echelon team in the 90s, the Avalanche were. The Stars, I don't know. I still don't know what the hell happened there. And the poor Sabres, geez, you're one shot.
Oh boy.
But, and then I don't know. I kind of lost track after that. The Devils, I guess, won another one. And
yeah, the Devils won 3 cups in that time period from 95, 2000, 2003 when they beat the Mighty Ducks the NHL sees teams like the Hurricanes before. This isn't a new phenomenon either.
Right.
You think of that Mighty Ducks team. You think of the Oilers team that the Carolina Hurricanes beat for the Cup in 2006. You get these weird teams that when the Kings won their first Cup, they were an 8 seed. They came out of nowhere to win that one too. So
weren't the Oilers that the Kings beat? They were a lower seed, weren't they?
They were a 7 seed.
Yeah.
And they got there on the back of Dwayne Rollison flopping around.
Yeah, it's just
they probably win that cup too if Rollison stays healthy.
Yeah, well, that Oilers team also should have lost to the Ducks that year. The Ducks were supposed to win the cup the year before, but they didn't.
Then the lockout happened.
Could you have imagined coming out of the lockout a Carolina Anaheim Cup final? What that would have done to the NHL.
We're already on the OLN.
Not that Carolina Edmonton was that much better, probably worse overall.
Well, see, that would have been you weren't as far away from the Oilers' dominant Cup run in the late '80s there. So,
yeah, but for can an American tell me where Edmonton is on a map? Of course not.
Yeah, that's in Western Canada.
I can tell you where Edmonton is on a map.
Yeah, but you're a Canadian.
Oh.
You don't. You just live here. You don't even pay taxes.
Yeah, it's going to be a crazy. I like I said, if the Jackets can somehow get past this, then I think anything's possible. If Boston wins this series, I think you're looking at them as your Stanley Cup champion. That's the way I see it. It really, if Boston can get past these guys, then the Canes have had a nice run, but come on, with Boston and they're getting your way hockey, are the Canes going to be able to beat them 4 times? I don't know. Maybe, but
I wouldn't think so.
I wouldn't think so, no. And out west, I don't know what the hell's going to go on. My St. Louis Blues, they're playing for their lives yesterday, and they hang on to get a Game 7, so we'll see. But
Ben Bishop gets hurt in the playoffs again. Who would have seen that coming?
Let me ask you this.
The team that I don't want out of the West is Dallas, because when it comes to the Hurricanes, like they have a that one of the brotherhood bond sort of thing that they're all playing together. I don't know what the hell Dallas is. I have no idea how they're at this point.
They're not even
don't.
interesting like they were in '99 when they had like Mike Modano and Brett Hall and
yes, they have Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin. They're both very good players, but
Jamie Benn likes to drive to the arena in his big
truck and
his
listen
big
to techno
truck,
music.
and
Yeah.
he listens to the radio. He likes the rock music.
But like, I can't tell you why Dallas is good, and I don't even think that they really are. But they're one win away from going to the conference final, and that shouldn't happen. Like if somehow Dallas makes it to the Cup final, I would have to say that it's up there. Like if it ended up being Dallas Carolina or Dallas Columbus, probably has one of my votes for worst Cup final.
Oh,
in
no
terms
doubt.
of like
No doubt.
not even in terms of like talent or I guess like
Least appealing.
name teams, but not even that, not even least appealing. I still think Carolina Edmonton would be up there, but in terms of the talent on display, like that's not the thing you want to see for your championship.
Well, to be completely okay, Seth Jones is a great player, or he's on the verge of being a great player.
Yeah.
He's not a guy people are going to tune in to watch. Okay.
No, in theory, it should be a guy
Bobrovsky,
like Panarin, but he's not a name.
He's not a name yet. I mean, maybe
no.
he will be someday, but he's not right now. So you've got Jones, you've got Bobrovsky. Are you going to get people tuning in to watch Cam Atkinson or Boone Jenner? I doubt it. So if you're talking like marquee value, yeah, Columbus and Dallas would have very little that I can see.
Same with Carolina. I mean, they've got fun.
Yeah. So, and then I don't know, there's just not a lot left on the board right now. Like all the, if you're looking at it from a purely like standpoint of what has the most appeal, there ain't a whole lot left to work with, to be completely blunt about it.
The networks have to be begging for San Jose, Boston.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And I think they would take Canada would take Colorado because they can market Nathan McKinnon. I think the States would probably take St. Louis
right
over Colorado. Generally.
Well, St. Louis, you've got the never won a cup thing. Been close so many times. You can make a storyline out of that.
Right. They're a long time hockey city.
Right. You can make comparisons to the Cardinals. Yeah, it's just going to be weird. It's just going to be weird.
Yeah. I mean, it's already been weird, but I don't know how this is going to be looked at in 10 years.
Not well. It will not be. It's not going to be.
Even Carolina's first cup, when they won in 2006, people look at that now, and a lot of people kind of throw up their hands and attribute it to we had just come out of the lockout, and the referees didn't know how to call the game properly now because they had changed all the rules and stuff. And the Hurricanes had a weird run with Cam Ward and just went on to that.
Wasn't Ron Francis on that team too?
He was.
Ron Francis, Rob Brindamore.
Rob Brindamore, right, yeah.
Who's now the coach of this Hurricanes team, which when it comes to guys that I saw play that I didn't think would be coaches, Rob Brindamore is up there.
We're going to check in on the NBA?
The association.
The association.
Yeah. First round is over. We're about halfway through the second round, and got some interesting series going on. But, of course, the seeding is interesting because, despite there being some, all but two series in the first round went 5 games or more. The Golden State Clippers series went 6. The Denver Spurs series went 7. Everything else was 5 games or less. So we still get the 1, 2, 3, 4 seeds out of each conference. Golden State leads Houston 2-1. Portland and Denver are tied 2-2. Philadelphia and the North are tied 2-2. And Milwaukee leads Boston 2-1. And it's still an inevitable death march until the Warriors win another title. Because despite there being some interesting series, I guess, it really doesn't matter.
No one's beating
the Warriors. The Warriors hit the switch, they hit the switch, and that's it.
If the Bucks can get through in the East and Giannis can just go like full LeBron / Jordan, maybe.
Maybe. Right.
But
that's our shot.
That's our shot. Yeah. We're hanging our hopes.
Counting out the North.
We're hanging our hopes.
The North.
We're hanging our hopes on the Milwaukee Bucks, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm not hanging my hopes on any goddamn Milwaukee anything. We, the North, this is the Raptors' year.
Yeah,
the Raptors are somehow fighting off the Drake curse that every other team has succumbed to this season.
Yeah, Drake needs to be locked in his fucking house. Like he's not allowed to come to anything.
Well, again, the Raptors are the only team that formally employs Drake, right?
Well, but the Raptors and the Maple Leafs are the same thing. They're the same organization. It's all Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment.
But he's only the global ambassador of fun for the Raptors.
That's true.
Right?
The global ambassador for fun. No, seriously,
again,
come playoff time in the NBA and NHL, like Drake should just be locked in his home. He doesn't get to come. He doesn't get to leave. Like,
that's kind of a shame that it worked out that Golden State and Houston have to play instead of in the conference finals that they have to face off now.
Yeah, well,
that's a seeding thing, right?
That's right. Houston's fault for having a crappy regular season.
Yeah,
and by crappy I mean they finished fourth in the West.
I'm looking at it. I just, you know what? There's Golden State and there's everybody else. Houston's got a shot, I suppose.
I think the thing that's interesting with Houston is there's been a lot of talk of it in the past already, but I think the worm is finally officially turning on James Harden and the way he plays.
Yeah.
When it comes to the numbers, Kemba Walker and Terrence Ross were fouled 34 times this season on 3-point attempts in the NBA. That's the number 2. That's the second highest number in the league. James Harden has the number 1 amount of times being fouled on a 3-pointer in the NBA this season. Again, Kemba Walker and Terrence Ross tied in second place, 34 fouls on 3-point attempts.
Okay.
Do you want to guess how many times Harden was fouled on 3-point attempts?
117.
95.
Wow, it was close.
95.
So he's like drawing a lot of these fouls then of the 95.
He's specifically trying to draw the foul, not necessarily make the 3. He'd rather take the 3 free throws than actually make the 3-point shot.
Okay, there he is wide open. Yep, okay. Lands in the same spot.
Yeah.
Drains it.
Yeah, when he's open, like he can shoot the 3. There's no doubt about that. He's an expert shooter. But he's also gaming the system to a degree that makes Rocket games kind of a slog, first off, and second, just not fun. That's not basketball.
You know, I think that the 3-pointer was a great idea at the time, but when you add in the advanced analytics and stuff and all that, and they found out how efficient, if you can shoot the 3-pointer, if you can be efficient at it, it's such a lethal weapon.
Which is what the Warriors did.
Yeah, and it takes some of the fun out of the game. I mean, they haven't killed it quite as much as advanced analytics have killed baseball, which is a completely different segment. But wow, he really does go like after the foul, doesn't he?
Yeah, and when we talk about the Warriors, though, the team that kind of broke that mold, Curry doesn't do this. Klay Thompson doesn't do this.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant doesn't do this. Like they're not even close on those numbers that we were talking about. But James Harden is far and away up there when it comes to the numbers, and
he's got damn near 3 times as many fouls as the next guy behind him.
Right.
I've been fouled 3 times as many times.
And beyond that, he's converted. I think it said I forget how many a certain amount of 3-point plays, 24-point plays this season, where he's made the 3 and got the extra point.
Yeah.
That's 11 more than any other player in the league.
Yeah. Well,
that's not a beautiful game by any stretch.
No, that's the thing though. I think that the 3-pointer has taken away a lot of the stuff that made basketball kind of fun before we had it. Like in today's game, how would you use Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? I mean, because the Lakers game was, he was number 1 option until the last couple of years of his career, probably. But early, from the early 80s on, he was number 1 option. Get in there and get him within 12 feet for that sky hook, and that's how it was lethal. I don't know if a team would use that now. Would you even try? When you could have, Michael Cooper or Magic out shooting threes, That's what I'm talking about, and I don't.
Yeah, well, like look at the Warriors, right? They signed DeMarcus Cousins, and everyone thought, oh, this is going to change them. You know, when they get to the playoffs, when he gets healthy, they're going to be an absolute monster. Well, he gets injured and he's out for the rest of the playoffs, but doesn't seem to have slowed them down whatsoever.
Well, not only that, but are they going to change their entire game to work around DeMarcus Cousins? Of course not.
He's just a nice bonus that if they miss the three, he's there for the rebound.
Right.
Put it back in.
He's like a nice fifth option to have.
Right.
Yeah.
Could you imagine Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as your fourth option or something like that?
That's what I'm saying. Olajuwon, Ewing, any of the big guys.
It's a different game than what they played.
And even Olajuwon and Ewing played in the 3-point era, but it wasn't the advanced analytics, and I guess they served their purpose. But again, people sat down with charts and graphs and all that and figured out that the 3-point shot is your best bet. Because first, if you get an extra point for it, and to do that well will win you more games than doing 12-foot skyhooks will win you, and it's just things that like have taken the fun out of it. Like the NBA. I know I listened to Bill Simmons today, and he's like, "Oh, the NBA is the greatest it's ever been." I'm like, "It is."
No,
it doesn't seem that way to me. Maybe it is. I don't know. It does not seem like it to me.
Remember when we had you do that experiment, Greg?
Yeah.
Where you tried to watch the league for like 4 straight days or whatever.
Yeah, right.
The thing that NBA fans talk about more than anything else is more about the personal beefs. Like in the first round, I couldn't have told you the records of any of the other series going on, but I knew that Russell Westbrook and Damian Lillard were having a beef. They were feuding. They were taking it out against each other on the court. And it's like, I don't care. I don't care.
See, okay, here's my take on that.
Especially when neither of their teams were going to win anything besides that. But yeah.
Here's my take on that. If I was curious about the beef, I would just wait for the episode of Beef History on SB Nation and save myself the trouble of watching a boring basketball game that is of no consequence to anyone.
Well, that's the thing too, is that the league has become a player league. It's not a team. Like, I guess a lot of kids now, they follow players. Like, I mean, that's hardly new. That's what I did with Kareem when I was a kid. But I don't think it was nearly as common when I did it as it is now. But, they're a Durant fan, or they're a LeBron fan, or they're a Steph Curry fan, and they're going to go where he goes, James Harden, whatever, It just, the whole dynamics changed. But I don't know that all the 3-point shooting and stuff in the NBA has made it a better game. There was something to be said for watching like the Lakers run a perfect fast break and, hand off to Worthy or to Kareem for a dunk or whatever. That was cool. And you still see that on occasion, but that was what the Lakers were designed to do in the 80s. That was their offense. Fast break, get down, get the easy shot. I don't know that they would do that now with 3-point shooting. And it's just kind of a shame that a sport that used to be a lot of fun to watch isn't as much fun anymore. And I blame a lot of it on advanced analytics. I think if they had not figured that out, because the 3-point shot's been around for a long time. I mean, Larry Bird played in the 3-point, with the 3-point shot. So this is a relatively new development in the game, and I don't think it's making it better for it. But that's just me. I'm just an old man yelling at a cloud, basically.
Well, I'm with you to the same point too. Like, the whole culture of the NBA has changed from just rooting for great team matchups to where it is all about the individuals. It's all about the highlights.
Yep.
It's all about, you're going to get some of these guys that I guess it's a good in a way where you're not going to have the same sort of situation where guys are jumping teams anymore. So you're going to get some guys that stay on the same team forever because it doesn't matter anymore. And all they're concerned about is making their money, making a cool highlight, and that's it at the end of the day. There's few and far between are the guys that are so determined that they need to beat everybody to win a championship that they're going to jump to teams anymore. Like, Durant might be the last guy to really kind of force that super team thing. And I don't know if we're going to see that because
and Durant,
they're so interested in their own highlights and their own personal beefs and their brands
Durant's made that pretty clear, because I think everybody's pretty much sure that he's done with Golden State after this season.
Right.
So he got his ring or 2, however many he got with them, and he's moving on.
Gonna get 3. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it. So it was just about. add that piece of hardware to my stuff. That was what it was about. It wasn't about, I want to go play on a great team and be part of a great team. It was like, I need this ring for my legacy. You know, I mean, I could be wrong about that. Maybe he is a big team player and all that, but it sure looks to me like it was just a matter of, I've got to add this ring to all the other stuff that I've done as an individual in the NBA. And I think a lot of players see it that way now. And there's nothing wrong with that, but don't expect me to sign up for it, and don't expect me to sit down and try to watch 4 games in a week ever again, because I don't know that I could do that. I will always be able to find a better use of my time. You know?
Yeah. There are more irrelevant teams than not in the NBA.
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
just kind of sad.
Well, I mean, even in the playoffs, you've got irrelevant teams. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Like the Clippers.
Denver number seed in the West, and they're in the second round. And I can't tell you a thing about the Denver Nuggets. I really can't. I know they have. There's one European guy, Jokic, who's really good, but besides that, I don't
know a single player. I know Damian Lillard on the Blazers. I know,
right?
I know him.
Right. That's what the league is broken down to now.
Yeah, and Milwaukee.
And that's happened for a long time, but I don't think this is clearly the peak of that.
Yeah, but you know what though? Back in the day, and God, I hate to be the guy always going back in the day, but the '80s, and I think most historians will agree that the 80s were like the league's apex. That was when it was at its absolute peak. And
I would disagree.
Okay. Where would you say? Where would you say it was?
Jordan, late 90s.
Okay. Well, you can make a case for either one, but the point being that back then you knew every Boston Celtic, not just Larry Bird. You knew Robert Parrish, you knew McHale, you knew Danny Ainge, you knew Emil Carr coming off the bench. With the Lakers, you knew Magic, Kareem, Worthy, you knew Kurt Rambis, you knew with the Hawks, you knew Dominique Wilkins and Tree Rollins and Spud Webb, and you know what I mean? You knew all the guys. And it's not like that anymore. And I don't, maybe it's just because I don't follow it that closely, but I can't name, I mean, I look at the Sixers, I know they've got Ben Simmons, and I can't think of another guy on the team. I can't
Joel Embiid.
I can't name a single Toronto Raptor. Sorry, Mike.
Is Kyle Lowry still there? No. DeMar DeRozan. Am I getting anybody?
Vince Carter.
You're getting people. You're good.
Okay.
Like the Bucks. I know Giannis. I can't say his last name. Antetokounmpo, who's an awesome player, great player.
Yeah, he's amazing.
The Celtics, I know Kyrie Irving, and the dude from Iowa, Gordon Hayward.
But he's
hurt, I think.
I thought he was injured.
Yeah,
Again, if anybody is still tuning into us to hear serious NBA talk,
right.
I'm sorry.
I mean, this is as good as it gets.
We're flopping around here, but this is our best.
Kawhi Leonard is obviously the big guy on the Raptors.
Oh, right.
Kawhi gracing the internet with a creepy smile gif last week.
Yeah, and enjoy him this year, Mike, because he's gone to greener pastures the minute his contract is up. So just telling you that.
Yeah, no. I'm aware, Rich. But you'll never guess who is currently on the Toronto Raptors.
Well, since I don't know any
Jeremy
of them.
Lin.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
He's still around, huh? Wow.
Linsanity. We had to replace Vinsanity, so we got Linsanity.
I'm just glad to see a guy like him be able to eke out what's have to be like a 10-year career now at this point, right? So, he's put some money in his pocket. Good for him. I'm really glad to hear that. It's not like I don't like basketball. I would love to like the NBA again, but the game as it presents itself now, I just don't find very interesting, And I do, maybe I'm wrong on this, but I blame a lot of it on advanced analytics. And it hasn't screwed up basketball as much as it's completely and utterly ruined baseball. But it's just this thing where, maybe, I don't know how you get rid of it. You can't just, what are you supposed to do? Everybody agree, okay, we won't use this shit anymore? That's not going to happen. So you've got to find a way to, reconcile your dislike of the advanced metrics and what it's done to the game and select the sport, I suppose. I don't know. I know that I can't watch baseball anymore. Which I never, in 7 years of the show, I don't think I ever thought I would ever utter those words, but it's awful.
Yeah, Greg, remember how I told you I was kind of excited for this Angel season? I was ready to dive in deep on it.
Right.
Ask me how many full Angels games I've watched this year.
I bet you you've watched less than I have. Or,
0.
Or more than I have. Well, okay.
I think I've watched...
Are we talking full games, like all 9 innings?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't watched any either. Not just the Angels, anybody, period.
I think I may have... I've put them on in the background at least twice. Because it's like they're playing, there's nothing else going on. Throw them up on the TV while I'm watching stuff on YouTube or whatever.
Oh, you mean like to sit down and actually watch a game?
Yeah.
I have not watched a 9-inning baseball game, probably since the Indians were in the playoffs last year.
Yeah, I'd probably say the last one I watched was the series.
Can't, I mean, the sport's
I'll watch the World Series, but
it's unwatchable.
Even the Angels, the only time that I look up, if they're on TV, the only time I will look up is when they say, Mike Trout's stepping up.
Right.
Like, okay, Mike Trout, let's see him.
Mike,
Other than that, I just... They're bad. I don't care. And the rest of the sport in general is just...
It's unwatchable. It is unwatchable.
Slog. It's a slog.
Mike,
we've still never gotten around to doing our MLB preview, by the way.
No, I don't give a fuck. I mean, I'll be completely honest about it. I don't care. You know?
Yeah. And you're a guy with, 12 different favorite baseball teams.
Well, not anymore. I mean, I guess I still have them. But the truth of the matter is that my favorite highlight I've seen so far this season was something that they showed on one of the MLB Network shows. Harold Reynolds did it, and it was a Kansas City Royal, which I thought was perfect. It was Tom Gordon of the Royals, left-handed hitter. They had the shift on against him, so he bunted the ball straight down the third baseline. And to me, that was like the best thing I had seen in baseball, and I can't remember how long, because it was like, here's your stupid shift. You're going to hand me a hit. I'm going to take it. It's okay if you strike out as long as you hit home runs, and base hits and RBIs mean nothing anymore. Good batting average means nothing anymore. It's like, who wants to watch this?
To me, baseball for me personally peaked with that one Rangers Blue Jays playoff game, right? Where Sky Dome almost got burnt down.
And I still think there needs to be a 30-30 done on that 45 minutes of baseball, because that was amazing.
You could do a 30 for 30 on just that inning.
Yep, just that inning.
That inning, yeah.
But that's what I'm talking about. Like the NBA
and Joey Bat's bat flip, like
yeah, that was so awesome. But see, that's what baseball is capable of when it's done right. That's the kind of excitement it can bring. Or like Night 162 a few years back. When it's working right, it can be great, but it just doesn't do that anymore. And you're talking, you guys. I mean, we're never
going to get a Night 162 again because they did they added the second wild card team. So now, like that drama could never exist again. So
yeah, because the way baseball works too is you're never going to have a 1-game playoff for like the second to last playoff spot because the teams aren't good enough at that point.
But no, it's just, my reputation as being the baseball lover of this crew is well known. And I got to come right out and say, I can't even honestly say it's my favorite sport anymore. NASCAR has probably supplanted it. And it's not like NASCAR, if you don't know what's going on, it's exciting to watch. But it's just something that, I know how it works. I know what I'm looking for. And to me, it's more enjoyable for 2 reasons. First off, it's just better. And secondly, I don't have to watch all 500 laps to get an idea of what's going on in the race, but for me to sit here and say that I can't even watch baseball anymore, that's awful to me. I hate that I have to say that, but it's the truth. It's become so bad. And the NBA to a lesser extent, for the same reasoning with the advanced metrics and playing the game out as some sort of a science experiment as opposed to an actual sporting event just has no appeal to me whatsoever. None. Yeah. I just don't care about that.
Like part of my thing this year, at least, is the Angels are bad, and it's just Mike Trout and everybody else, and that's kind of how it is. But even to say that, I don't even think if the Angels were good right now, I would take the time to watch.
It's hard
unless Ohtani was pitching, and it's like, okay, maybe I'll see Ohtani do something cool on the mound. But otherwise, I don't think I'd take the time.
It's hard. I was going to ask Mike.
At least not in April or May.
Yes.
You can't get Jays games down there unless you bought one of the like MLB TV or whatever. So
and I have not done that.
So I'm pretty sure you're not watching Rays games.
No, I am not watching Rays games. No.
But actually, they're supposed to be pretty fun this year. They're actually supposed to be pretty good. So.
Yeah, I've seen them that they're at the top of the standings, and I'm sure they are. But I have I have no love or connection to the Tampa Bay Rays like that. No. I'm not gonna. That's not gonna.
Oh my God, the Tampa Bay Rays are in first place. What the hell?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, Zach. They're a Moneyball team, but like a different kind of Moneyball team.
Yeah.
It's just
a stellar 9-7 record at the Trop.
And I'm only going to go there when the Jays play because I'm not.
But hey, didn't they add all those to make the dome like a dance party or something?
Jesus,
the fucking dome.
I'm not it's. Going to a baseball game should be kind of like a bright and like happy experience. It should be almost like going to the park.
Not going to somebody's basement.
Instead, it's like it's just a Costco.
It's like you're watching a game in a great big basement. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, anyway, it's only been a month of the season, so I don't want to. Eventually, the basketball and hockey playoffs will be over, and you'll succumb to baseball because that's the only thing on.
I'd rather watch golf. I swear to God, I really rather would watch golf. At least I can appreciate that.
I mean, I watch the Masters.
Yeah, I was surprised how much I enjoyed watching that too because as somebody that plays golf a little bit, to watch these guys do what they do and to know how hard it is to do that, like to even get one shot in a round to do what you want it to do and to watch them do it consistently over and over and over again, pretty amazing. But
it's incredible.
But yeah, I just I didn't want to turn this into a baseball rant, but it's just they have completely ruined my sport. To the point where I find it unwatchable between the shifts, and everybody says outlaw the shifts. It's like, no, don't do that. That's just stupid. That's overreacting. Just learn how to hit around it, like that Tom Gordon did. He became my hero. He could have ran. He probably could have gotten a double out of it, but I think he didn't want to get greedy. But he just bunted the ball right down the third baseline. There was no one there, and off he went. It's like, that's all you got to do. You do that 4 or 5 times, the shift is over. And for the love of fucking God, can we please implement something to stop everybody from stepping out of the box for 5 minutes in between every pitch?
We need the goddamn clock. I know the old timers.
Dude, I'm an old timer, and I want that clock worse than anything.
I know, but I know, like most old timers faint at the thought of any sort of clock in baseball. But like, it's gotten to the point where it's either the clock or games go on forever. So
who was I listening to? They were talking about that they would rather watch a game on YouTube from the 80s than a game today, just because they went faster and they were easier to watch because nobody.
Everyone steps out to adjust their freaking wristbands for 3 minutes.
Well,
Well, Greg, I think I know who that was because was it a Bill Simmons podcast?
Yeah, it was. It was Michael Lewis. Him and Michael Lewis were talking. Yeah,
the author of Moneyball, the guy that wrote a book on what created this whole phenomenon, doesn't want to watch baseball anymore.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and it's kind of his fault, really. But I know that I've brought up this example many times before, but I did this on the boards when we were having this discussion, and I pointed out that there was a game that the final score was 11-9 in like a 1982 game, and that game took 2 hours and 14 minutes to play. There was a 2-1 game, and I think this was in 2017, that took 3 hours and 40 minutes to play. Mm-hmm. Now, come on. That's the problem. That is the problem right there.
They need the clock.
Because in baseball, you can't. It's bad enough that you've ruined it with all the analytics, but now you've completely destroyed any kind of pace or momentum it used to have. And it's just nobody wants to sit and watch for 40 seconds in between pitches. It's excruciating. It's excruciating. I try to watch and I can't. I will put it on in the background like you do, Zach, but to sit and pay attention to it, forget it. I can't do it. If I hear like, oh, bases are loaded, I'll watch the guy bat, and that's it. But to just sit and watch inning after inning, can't do it. Can't do it.
This is going to be a controversial opinion, but you want to know what needs to happen to save baseball?
What's that?
We need to go back to the dead ball era.
Yeah, you have to kill the past.
You have to kill.
I don't know about the dead ball era, but I think there's a lot of things that they could get rid of that would help the sport a lot.
We need to make it so. Bring back strategy. Bring back small ball.
That's what I love so much about those 2015 Kansas City Royals is they turned analytics on its head and won a World Series.
I mean, that's what the dead ball era was. It was small ball. It was not about home runs. It was about, smart offense and stealing bases and picking your spots.
No one even steals bases anymore. I was looking at a stat the other day it was on Twitter. This guy talked about, I don't know, you guys probably remember a guy named Eric Davis that played for the Reds. Really good player. He was like a 30 home run a year guy, 100 RBIs, and probably steal 50 bases. And today he would not steal those 50 bases because you're giving up an out, and God forbid, outs and runs, and I don't know how the fuck they formulate all of it, but he was a really exciting player to watch. We'd never get to see him now. Ricky Henderson would be such a, I don't even know what you'd call him in this game today. Would he even start? A guy that steals.
He'd be a utility guy.
I love the fact that, it's bad for the game, so that's regrettable. But I do love the fact how my suspicion of analytics was proven correct in the long run.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, baseball, it's a live action simulation.
It's exactly what it is. That's all it is.
Freaking nerds with your numbers ruined the glorious game of baseball.
I think
what? What? The Oakland A's in the mid-2000s
could lose.
Never won anything?
Yeah, so they could lose in 5 games every fucking first round of the playoffs?
Yankees? Yeah.
Come on.
Do you want to, while we're here, do you think you can name the division leaders right now?
Well, the Rays.
The Rays we know for certain.
Yeah, the Rays are up in the Yankees by 2 games.
The AL. Okay, so let's move on to the AL Central. Who's leading the AL Central? Indians?
No.
I was going to go with the Tigers.
Tigers are 4.5 out. It is your Minnesota Twins.
Okay.
Oh, good. So they can lose to the Yankees too this postseason. That'd be fun.
They're 20-12 currently.
Go Twins.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, right now.
The Twins, baseball's blues, really, when you think about it.
Yeah, there you go.
The current wild card teams, by the way, would be the Yankees and Cleveland. So
the Indians aren't winning shit this year. That's a bad ball club.
Okay, AL West. I don't goddamn know.
AL
West?
Mariners? I was going to go with the Mariners.
Now the Mariners have cooled off a little bit. It's Houston taking their rightful spot.
Oh God, Houston! Yeah, I forgot about Houston's really good. Yeah.
Seattle's 2 games out now.
Now the National League.
Seattle started the season on an incredible tear, but
the National League is what's going to be fun. I have no earthly idea. I do know one. I think the Cardinals are in first in the Central.
Cardinals are a half game out of first in the Central.
Cubs then.
Yes.
Cubs.
All
okay.
Right. Okay. So Cubs. Okay. So NL East.
Phillies.
Marlins. I don't know.
Mike, the Marlins are 9-24. How dare you?
Hey, yeah, you know what though? That's in that division. That's not that far out of first, probably.
It is 10 games out of first, behind your Philadelphia Phillies and Bryce Harper.
Okay, before we move on to the
I like this Phillies team. I think they can be pretty good.
Before we move on to the NL West, I just want to laugh at all of the people who were saying how Derek Jeter's he's making all these smart moves, turning around the Marlins. It's like, no, they still fucking suck. They're still awful, only now they're not even interesting.
Your one good player is in Milwaukee hitting the cover off the ball right now, Christian Yelich. That's what
to point out how bad the Marlins are. They're 9-24. They have a negative 73 run differential.
Ooh. After 33 games?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The only team that's close is Baltimore. They're 12-22 with a negative 68.
Oh man!
After that, there's everybody else at worst is in the minus 30s.
Wow! Wow!
The
Good job, Derek Jeter.
So the Cubs are in first and Central.
But bad.
I will say, Miami, their expected win-loss is 8-25. So they're 1 game over their expected average right now. So.
Oh yeah, well, take their fucking expected averages and shove them.
So Derek Jeter, they still suck, and you made them less interesting.
Here's what he's done.
You can't even read the uniforms for more than.
You can't even read the stupid uniforms.
Here's what Derek Jeter has done since he's taken over that team. Okay, first off, he gutted what talent they had. His best players are now on the Yankees and the Brewers and wherever else he sent them. He took away the one interesting, quirky, cool thing about that ballpark and that ridiculous home run sculpture.
Which was glorious and amazing.
Yeah, because God forbid we have a little fun with something. No, fuck no, not Derek Jeter, you soulless prick. And then And then he takes the uniforms and makes them like the road uniforms. You can't even fucking read them at night.
You can't even read the uniform.
This is what he's done so far. And
isn't this shit supposed to be like focused? Like, don't they do like the eyesight test of this shit before it gets approved?
And they had, I really liked the black alts they had in the prior set. I think like pretty good. There wasn't a bad uniform set. Was it the top of the list? No, but it was pretty good. No. But that's what he's done. So good job, Derek Jeter. And you've got a plan. I don't know what it is, but
9-24. That's
way to go. But and the thing that kills me too, I know Stanton was probably up, but I think Yelich still had a couple years of service left. He could have kept him in Florida, but he just didn't. He's just like, no, fuck him, get him out of here.
And now he's an National League MVP.
Not only did they take away the glorious home run sculpture, but if you go into the Marlins new uniform thread, you'll see it kind of also talks about the stadium. The Marlins stadium used to have like a lot of really bright and vibrant colored tile all over the place. Like
not anymore, right?
Nope. It's all been replaced by like black, blue, and gray.
That fucking asshole.
Yeah, like Derek Jeter, that soulless fucking bore who it's like, look, you're the Florida goddamn Marlins, all right? You're supposed to be a bit ostentatious and gaudy.
Yes, it's Miami for fuck's sake. South Beach.
It's the Marlins should be like the team that has that home run sculpture,
and they should have like naked chicks swimming around in that fish tank behind home plate. Come on, it's Florida. That's what they do down there. Give me a break. If he's trying to turn them into the Yankees South, good luck with that.
Yeah, okay, yeah, the Yankees, the Florida Marlins are never going to be the New York Yankees.
Yeah, you know why? Because no one's ever going to be the New York Yankees. That's the problem that these idiots don't understand. Mm-hmm. You can't do the Yankees elsewhere. The Yankees are the Yankees. And
the Yankees work because there's all that history there. Like the Yankees didn't start off as the Yankees. They built it.
Yeah.
And you can't go into an existing team that doesn't have that history and make them the Yankees. Like, no.
Yeah, but anyway,
I'm just pissed because like the Tampa Bay Rays, right? Like they're divisional rivals of the Blue Jays. So I could never root for the Rays, but like but moving to Florida, there's like, oh well, I could root for like
for the Marlins.
For the Marlins,
sure.
They could be my NL team,
right?
But then Derek Jeter had to go and make them boring.
Yeah, bad is one thing. You can be bad, but you can't be boring and bad. That doesn't get you anywhere.
It's like the Bucks. I'd be more willing to like the Bucks, like even if they sucked, if they just had good uniforms.
Right.
But instead, they have they have the abominations they have.
Anyway, so where were we, Zach? What division are we on now?
NL West.
NL West.
I'm going to go with probably the Dodgers.
The Los Angeles Dodgers. Yep.
Yeah.
First place, they're ahead by a game over Arizona.
Okay.
And hey, the San Diego Padres, 19-16.
Are they wearing brown yet?
Occasionally. They're still doing special nights.
So,
but
as I'm looking through the standings, here's a weird one, right? So I told you about the worst team in last place there, the Miami Marlins. The NL Central, the last place team right now is the Cincinnati Reds. They're 15-20. They have a plus 23 run differential.
Wow.
And they're in last place.
That's weird.
They're 15-20, and their expected win-loss has them at 20-15. So they're 5 games behind what the numbers say they should be.
Huh.
And again, they have a plus 23 run differential in last place.
That's weird. How do you do that? I mean,
I don't know. You're 5 games under 500 with a plus 23.
That's got to be a bad pitching staff. You're scoring a lot of runs, but you don't have any pitching help, right?
I would assume.
Yeah, see, I don't even. Yeah. I'm so far removed from baseball, I don't even know how it fucking works anymore.
Again, everybody else in last place is like minus 38, minus 73, minus 7, minus 11, minus 68.
Oh, the Angels only 4 games under 500. They're not that bad.
Yeah, but they have Mike Trout, man. It shouldn't be this bad.
You know what? I was so happy that they just finally, they ended the whole "where's he going to go" shit and signed him.
They did it a year ahead of time. Yeah,
but for what? To what end? I don't want to watch Mike Trout and 8 guys named, I don't know, Quadruple Jesus.
It's what Mike Trout wanted to do. The Angels came to him early, and he said that what he said was that he saw everything that went on with Bryce Harper and Manny Machado, and how it got extended over the whole damn offseason into spring training. And he said, I don't want to do that. So let's just do this now.
Well, I think it's
what the Angels came up with him.
I think it's great that the Angels kept him, but are you going to put anything around him? You know?
I don't want him to be the Ernie Banks of the 21st century. You know? I know. I think they're taking time to build because it's been a while, but the farm system is finally getting back to a point where it's respectable.
Well, good.
They have some guys coming up. You know, Ohtani can't pitch this year, so it's kind of a wasted year on that front. But I think they're looking more towards 2 years from now.
Yeah.
To finally put it all together and compete, and get guys like Albert Pujols out of the lineup. And
he's still not playing too bad. I mean, he's not a liability yet. But yeah, you can't. You got to have a guy better than him in there at this point.
Well, and the thing right now too is, he's the DH for now, but Ohtani is joining them on the next road trip, and he's going to be able to DH this year. And if Ohtani's a better hitter than Pujols is at this point.
Absolutely.
So maybe Ohtani comes in and gives them a whole bunch of life in the bats, and they make a surge, but. Like Albert Pujols' days are numbered, especially at least this year too, because you're going to want Ohtani to play as much as he can.
Albert's what, 40 something now?
He's up there.
Yeah, and he's a guy that I can't imagine you couldn't find somebody on the farm team that's capable of putting up similar numbers. But he's Albert Pujols, and all things being equal. You're already paying him, so you might as well play him. I mean, he put some people in the stands, but
the guy they brought up from the farm system to play first base instead of him didn't run out a pop fly 3 weeks ago.
He's done a few more things than just that.
Yeah. Justin Bour has been he's quite an adventure for the Angels first base.
I don't know if he's an idiot or an asshole. I haven't decided yet.
Probably both.
Yeah, I mean, but he's done some really, really stupid stuff. It's just like, dude, what are you thinking?
Again, anyway. I haven't seen any of these things as they happened, but it's like when I went to spring training, I saw him hit a home run. I'm like, oh yeah, sure, fine. He seems like a good enough guy. Small sample size.
He just walked off the field after he hit a pop up, and it just doesn't really. I don't know if he's just one of those kind of players. It's just if it doesn't go my way, fuck it, or if he's just really stupid. I don't know which.
Yeah. Mike, the situation was in this one in particular. He's up at the plate, hits a pop fly in the infield. He already sees that it's going to get caught. Doesn't even bother running down to first base.
No, he just walks away.
He starts walking back to the home plate.
Fuck it, I'm going
but the best part is there's a guy on first base. So based on the infield fly rule doesn't come into effect in this situation.
Only one guy on, right.
So I think it was D. Gordon yells over to the second baseman hey, drop it, and he lets it fall down, picks it up, throws it to first.
Yep.
Gets the double play.
Tag second, throws the first, just like that.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Because the idiot's like, I popped up. Fuck me. Walks back to the dugout. Induces a double play.
I mean, that's on one hand, I kind of respect that in a Jay Cutler sort of way, right? The only thing that we need now is a shot of him in a shot of him in the dugout smoking. Just
right.
Yeah, and the best part is his last name is Bour. His last name is Bour, so it's you can boo him, you can call him a boor, you can,
Oh, you guys, those are the days, man.
He just figured that my last name's going to invite people to boo me anyway. I might as well give them a reason.
You guys probably never had the joy of being at a baseball game and say you get seats behind the dugout, and you can see puffs of smoke coming up all over the place. From back when they used to smoke in the dugouts, it was crazy.
Yeah.
What's his name? Earl Weaver had a pocket sewn into his jersey so he could keep his cigarettes in there.
That's great.
Times have changed. Anyway, guys.
Well, speaking of the Angels, by the way, and just guys that have ruined the game as a final thing, God, I hate Brad Ausmus. he's when you look up in the dictionary or you look up in an encyclopedia, the emblem of this sort of era of slave to the number, lifeless husk.
Right.
Can't manage his way out of a paper bag unless it's, there's a formula for it on the page. Brad Ausmus is your guy. As much as Mike Scioscia wasn't the dude anymore for this team, neither is Brad Ausmus.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
Anyway.
On that note, folks, we're going to call it a night. Thanks for tuning in. As always, you can follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Subscribe via iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, and the YouTubes. And we'll see you next week.
The North.
Go Blue Jackets.
Go Blue Jackets, even though they're down 1-0 right now.
No.
Go Jackets Blue. You got this.
Yeah, we got this.
Beach.
We'll see what happens. We should have a much better idea of what's going to be happening in hockey next week. So, in the meantime, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you around.
Later.